Stop chasing. Look, it's Marcel, aka Honey Bunny Sunny, and you know I'm on a mission to make you some money. Listen, if it's your first time tuning in, welcome, right? For everybody else, I have an amazing video for you guys today. Like, I'm gonna be real, this might be one of the most important videos that I've done so far, right? And you'll see why in just a second. Now, I encourage you to, if you don't have the time to watch this to the end, maybe, save it or, put it on your calendar to go watch it when you can watch it in full, because this is going to be critical information for you to understand about how to trade. Now, what I want to talk about today is win. So I'm a Tank fan, right? You know the singer Tank. He got a song called "Win." I'm not even going to attempt to sing it, right? But he just repeats "win" all over it, like a bunch of times. And that's when I was coming up with this video, I started thinking about that song. I was just like, everything really boils down to win, right? I'm going to make this very plain, very simple. And by the end of this video, I think you guys will understand what I mean about how you can take your portfolio from a little portfolio to a big boy portfolio. Okay. Now, everything in life has a win, right? Everything in life has a win. It's never like you can do something every day the exact same. Everything is a means to an end. That's what I mean when I say win, right? Everything is taking you somewhere. There's a defining moment. There's a specific time. I'll talk about it across industry so you can really understand what I'm saying. So let's start with businesses, for example, right? There is a win for every business. There's something called seasonality, right? There's seasons when certain businesses do really well, right? I don't know if you noticed, but Black Friday was built for businesses, right? Black Friday was literally to get people out of the red and into the black, right? Out of the red into the black. So from not profiting to profitable by the close of the year. That's what Black Friday was created for. So in order for a business to get to that moment, they have to survive that year. Y'all see where I'm going with this? They have to survive that year. Like they may be like, not solvent on certain months, right? And then they know that they're going to recoup 2 quarters worth of money in the end of the year because of people's, motivation to go shopping because of the holidays, right? People wanting to get gifts for their family, whether they celebrate it or not, right? So they know that that's a time that they can really focus a lot of their attention and resources towards. And all they got to do is just make sure that they get to that moment still in business. All right. With sports, there are the playoffs. Like the normal season is important, but only like to get to the playoffs. The whole idea is not to just win games. It's to win enough games to get to the playoffs, but you can also lose some games. So you're cool if you lose a few. It's all just going to matter that you are able to sustain yourself to get to the playoffs. And then you win some more games, and then you ultimately get to the championship, right? This is in every part of life that you can think of. You don't have these big, exciting times every single day in anything. It's usually the consistency of the day, like the day-to-day, is leading to a big event. Now, the reason that a lot of people don't go from little portfolio to big portfolio is because they don't understand that simple concept. They don't understand that there is a Black Friday of the stock market. There is a playoffs or a championship of the stock market, right? There is an off season of the stock market. Once you understand that, you understand exactly what type of trader you need to be and how you need to play it. I'm going to pull up an example in just a second and kind of walk you through exactly what I mean. But in the stock market, when you're day trading, yes, you can make consistent money. You can make consistent income like we teach you in the Prosperity Collective. But what's going to really take your portfolio to the next level is you having enough capital to deploy at times when there are home runs in the market, right? And this happens, it varies. Sometimes it's 5 times a year. Sometimes it may be closer to 10 times a year, depending on what's going on. But there are specific times where you can get 500 to 1,000% on trades that can really change your portfolio compared to like the 10 to 20%. So if you're able to time these trades, what does it mean when you're able to consistently make, whatever your goal is, $100, $200 a day? But then when these events come, you're able to put in more. You're able to leverage more because you've made some profit and you've managed it. But now you can leverage a little bit more and take advantage of the bigger swings that take place during these specific times. All right. Now I'm going to pull up an example, right? I'm going to pull up an example just to make this plain and clear for y'all. Because my goal is to make y'all money. I'm Honey Bunny Sonny. All right. All right. So look, I got SPY pulled up, and I'm just going to show you exactly what I mean. It's nothing better than just going straight to the charts with it. All right. I got SPY pulled up. Let me turn these drawings off. I got too many lines. I don't like to delete like certain lines. Even though I'm not even a person that draws lines on my charts anymore, I like to like leave some of my old stuff on there just to like go back and see like, what I was thinking during a certain time, or like, like what I was looking for, et cetera, right? So we're going to go back. We're going to go back in time. This is the weekly. Let's go to the daily. We're going to go back in time on SPY, and I want to show you something real quick, all right? So this takes me, let's just go to the beginning of the year. Let's just say 2025, because we're almost at the end of the year. So I'm just going to show you what happens in a year, right? All right. So right here, we're talking about in February. In February, we got, some news. I'm not going to go through the monotony of talking about each news event. I just want to show you something real quick. There was some news event. There was something going on here. It could have just been because we rallied, before Donald Trump was elected and then after election. So I'm assuming that that's what this is. But if you see, the stock market dropped from the 19th of February to, what's that? To April 8th. So you're talking about something that was like a 2-month swing, came down like almost 22%. So essentially this was a mini bear market. It by definition it's bear market, but it wasn't a true bear market because it didn't last. Like it came to bear market territory and then it bounced up. But a 21% drop, 22% drop on SPY is huge. We're talking about 1,000+% on your money. Huge. Right? That's one time. Okay. Well, what else did it do? It had to go back up. So from mid-April to May, we're talking about less than a month. What did it do? Let's bring the ruler tool back out. A 24% growth. All right. Wow. When else were there other moments like this? Right? Happened again in June. I'm sorry. Happened again in July. In July, we got a 4% drop, which is pretty significant. Right? There was also a pullback earlier than that, like in June. That was the one I skipped over. A pullback in June that was another 4%, right? Look at what SPY has done today, 27%. This is about the standard movement on SPY on a consistent basis. So when you get moves like that, especially when it's happening within a couple of days, right? I showed you something that happened within a couple of months, something that happened in a month, something that happened within a day. These are not just randomly doing this. These were all some sort of event, whether it was FOMC decision, whether it was Trump telling everybody to go buy stocks, right? Whether it was the cool off from Trump being elected, which was the very first drop. It's like, and then we have what's taking place now. If you look at the weekly, which will be leading to our probably next and final major event that's going to take place this year, bringing us back into correction territory. My prediction is that it's going to be, at a time that you think that it's going up. I have a whole nother video coming that's going to talk specifically about the market crash, so stay tuned for that. I won't waste your time with that. But the point that I'm making here is that there's about 5 to 10 times a year, depending on what's happening in a year, where things move significantly more than they would normally move, right? You get either a significant pullback or a significant pump, and typically this is coming off of major news, right? So I'm going to stop this right here and just talk to you. Now, take notes on this. This is very important. If you can understand that all you got to do is set a goal, right? A realistic goal that doesn't, risk more than, let's say, 10% of your account, 20% when your money is super low, because you do got to be more aggressive. That's just the fact of the matter of when you have a very small portfolio. You got to be a little bit more aggressive, because if you think about it, it's like a small amount of money is so close to the starting line. You'd be better off taking bigger risks than when you get more money. That's why when people get more money, they get less aggressive, right? You can slow your money down when you got millions and put it in equities. People with tens of, $20 million, $20+ million are not necessarily buying options every day. They're slowing it down a little bit, putting it in equities and taking more like swings and leaps and stuff like that. And people that just love trading, obviously they continue just for love of the game. But there's a few events where these swings are going to do really well. And if you've been hitting that small goal, like not risking a lot, like I talked to you guys about how, we have the formula to take you from, $1,000 to, making $2,000 to $4,000 when you join, TPC. It's a real thing. So if you're making an additional $48,000 a year, and you get a chance to grow that even more during these 5 to 10 major events that are, happening on the back of news and FOMC meetings, then that's how you get from little to big, right? The slow and steady, yes, it is something that is going to keep you disciplined. It's going to keep you patient. But every great trader can go and name defining trades. They could be like, oh, yeah, that was the crash. I made $100,000 on a crash or whatever. Oh, yeah, COVID, yeah, I made like $250,000. It's like there's always something significant that made the market do something unprecedented, and that's when fortunes are made, right? Yes, over time you can make fortunes, but who doesn't want to know how to catch an early fortune? This is not trying to, get some luck. This is not like rolling the dice. This is timing the market correctly based off of a series of events. Now, FOMC is the main thing. Earnings is the same thing. But the issue that most people have is they try to be a crystal ball person. They try to predict it instead of just waiting to see what happens. Now, there are some long-term predictions you can make. I've made a lot myself and been correct on them, but I don't try to guess what's going to happen on earnings. I don't try to guess what's going to happen on FOMC, which has been proven to be when the most money is wiped off the market or put onto the market, right? So what you want to do to go from little portfolio to big portfolio is, like I said, set your goal, consistently make that, keep your losses very small, understand when you're not supposed to be trading. Like we have plenty of videos on that. Understand what days are not good to trade. When there's a lot of consolidation, when the market doesn't have a direction, don't trade, right? On the days when there's FOMC or earnings, you wait. Don't get caught up in the IV crush. Don't get caught up in the false predictions. Wait until the move is made. What's going to happen with FOMC is like typically the first move is not the true move. It's the second move that really gives a direction. If that's unprecedented, like if it goes down and then it goes up significantly, then there's a possibility that it's going to be coming down. That's you reacting to the market, finding that pullback or that reversal, not trying to front run it. With earnings, a company can perform well and still go down. It's usually going to have a significant move. You want to look for companies that make significant moves. If it gaps up too crazy, wait for that reversal and that confirmation. Then that presents an even bigger opportunity with a higher risk to reward ratio so that you can make way more money. So if you're making $100-something a day, $100-something a day, $100-something a day, and in a quarter you put away $10,000, you can now, instead of risking your few hundred that you would normally risk, you could put $2,000 to $5,000 into a play that has a high risk to reward, meaning it went in a direction that in an unprecedented manner, right? And then created a huge gap. I'm not saying that as soon as it creates the gap, get into it, but once the opportunity is created, we then follow technicals. We then start to honor our technical analysis to trace it back down to where it's supposed to be, trace it back down to size. So understanding fair value gaps, understanding a reversal and confirmation, understanding the break and retest. And when you have something that's moved 20, 30%, you know that there's going to be an opportunity for it to come back down to size. All right. That's when fortunes are like exasperated, right? That's when they're catapulted. That's when what you've been working on is the opportunity. That's your playoffs, right? That's your defining moment. That's what all this training you've been doing has been leading you to. And you know what happens when that opportunity comes? You have to be ready, right? You have to be ready, right? Patience is going to kick in. Your instincts is going to kick in, right? Like you being able to, finally allocate a little bit more money than normal. You'll have to have that bravery, right? And like I said, it's not an everyday thing, so don't make a habit of it, but just understand that when these times comes, it's a gift, right? When something moves down too much, it's a gift. When something moves up too much, it's a gift. All right. So the way that you go from a little portfolio to a big portfolio is keeping the risk off on the daily, right? Win the day. You'll take some losses, but win majority of the days. Don't put your whole bank up. Put some money off to the side for the rainy day. And then when those days come, FOMC, earning, go bigger, right? Understand like what's taking place on your swings. Give yourself a little bit more time since you're putting a little bit more money in, and watch how you go from making $100 a day to then having like a week where you might make 10,000, right? It's very important to understand this. Go look at charts, study, right? Go look at 2023, 2022, 2021, right? Before then, go look at how many times the market had big opportunities for you to make money, right? Most people get wiped out during the year, so they can't even compete in the playoffs. They can't even compete when the real opportunity comes, when it really matters. They can't even contribute. They can't participate because they've taken too many big risks on the day to day. All right, I've said enough. I feel like you guys have gotten it. If you have not, please drop questions in the comments. I'm here to help you guys. Again, I'm Honey Bunny Sunny on a mission to make you some money. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do every day with these videos. If this video was helpful, hit that subscribe button. If you know somebody that could use this information, share it with them and go ahead and like it. Let's get to a couple hundred likes so that we can get this into the algorithm for that person that's searching and trying to figure out how to maneuver the market can find this video. All right. I love y'all. It's always love over here. Remember, invest smart, live free. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.